Hey, folks, welcome to a unique episode of High Stakes Deal Podcast After Dark. I have with me the one and only Kory.
Had to darken it up a little bit.
Yeah.
But this is going to be a good time.
Yes. Kory has been behind the camera for the longest time now, and as you can see, we don't have Brandon here with us tonight, and he's doing family things. So
Brandon's on dad duty.
Brandon is on dad duty, and that's going to be for a long time, Kory, because Brandon's got three little
kids.
Yeah.
Right.
So it might just be me and you
for
for a long
let's do it
time.
for a little bit. We're here.
So,
Let's do it.
Kory, I think, a ceremonial toast to the High Stakes Deal After Dark.
Oh, for sure.
And why don't you...
You brought out the La Crema? No, you're cracking it. Yeah.
I had to get a bottle that didn't have a cork in it.
Right.
Because we don't have any openers. So, anyways,
Right.
Kory.
Thank you, stud.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I've been drinking a lot of red lately. And Italian red.
Okay.
And Brandon turned me on to that. I've been drinking, before I just this is a Pinot Noir, but some of the Italian stuff is really smooth and just nice.
Maybe that's what we need as a wine sponsor. Let's add that to our list of things to find this year.
Yeah.
You know?
I like that. Kory.
Do you have any?
Yeah.
You should have some. You all know someone who has a vineyard.
You know what Brandon does.
So I was like,
Brandon
let's
does. I believe because Brandon's family's from Temecula, Marietta, and all the wineries.
Let's get a wine sponsor.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's get a wine sponsor.
Yeah. Hey, Kory, why don't we get a wine sponsor for After Dark?
I'm ready.
You know what I'm
ready.
saying?
Mm-hmm. I'm super ready.
We can put their logo up here.
Brought to you by. I'll animate it. I'll make a nice sound effect.
Yeah.
No, it's fun getting to be. It's fun getting to be on the camera.
The
camera today.
I know it's funny, Kory, because like when Brandon's here, and we all have our serious side, and you got to get the job done. You got to inform and stuff. But,
right.
It's kind of nice to just be a little what is that word, Kory, where we can just do it off
the cuff.
Yeah, off the cuff. A little impromptu.
Impromptu.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah. So
there we go. No, it's gonna be a good time.
Kory, speaking of, I was just thinking, I was searching for that word, but that's like one of the biggest things is like I'm trying to teach I have a young one and a one in college, but I'm trying to teach.
How young is the young one?
13.
Okay.
Yeah, but and they're very smart. They take after their mother. Right. But Ryan, the 13-year-old, has a good personality, and so does Zachary. Zachary only needs a few friends. That's the 22-year-old. But Ryan has like 5 or 6 or so. He's very social. Right. Social guy. But I'm trying to teach him to read, continue to read, because having that vocabulary, when you can pull a word up when you need it. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Strategically place a word when you need it.
It's funny. I went to school for English and theater. And
you were telling me. Where'd you go to school, Kory?
I went to UAlbany. Which is like up in the capital of New York.
Wow.
And definitely a time, but like I went to school for English and it was considered like a nonsense degree when I went to school for it. They were like, what's it go to school for English?
4-year degree?
Yeah, 4-year degree. Yeah. I have 2 4-year degrees.
Yeah.
And but I went for English and it was considered so stupid to go to school for. And now in the age of like AI and all these language-based model things, the English degree is like king right now.
Kory, you have a good sense of sentence structure and you have good vocabulary. Yeah. And it comes across well. I'm telling you, it's a big one up.
I do read books. I
read books. Yeah. No, that's good for you because having that language. And having a grasp of that really helps in communication a lot.
Right.
I mean, as being empathetic, that's one of the things I was going to ask and talk to you about. Is like, where are we on doing high stakes deals or whatever? All that is the high level stuff. But when it comes down to the basics, it's relationships.
Sure.
Building relationships and talking to people, and
that's Southern California.
Yeah.
That's like we're gonna have a wine sponsor because we know someone with a wine sponsor. That's how hard to find a wine sponsor, but someone you can get real fucking easy.
Right. Right. It's true because I was at this event in Newport Beach. I met one of our our ladies that work with us on the marketing side, and she goes to all these events. And I went to this event with her because I used to not like to put myself out there.
Okay.
When I was younger, and this is
because you're so social.
Yeah, but for some reason, Kory, I was insecure.
Okay.
And just oh no, I don't want to get out of my comfort zone. Fuck that.
Right.
You've got to.
Right.
You've got to. You've got to get a little messy.
Right.
And so, anyways, but there was a sparse crowd, but we probably met 3 or 4, pretty influential guys that have money, that have funds, that are doing seem to be doing well.
Right.
And just built a rapport with them. Mm-hmm. And like the guy called me yesterday, he called me today. You build that rapport, and like you said, next thing you know, if he had a wine company, we could ask him to sponsor us. You know what I mean?
He'll come do the show. He wants to hang out. Like it's like I feel like it's easy to make money. It's hard to like find people that you like.
Yeah.
I feel like it's relatively easy to make money. But like, if you would like to find doing it in a way that like you like with people that you like is harder.
Right.
So you find people who you like and you're actively always kind of in that mode of like meeting new people and doing that. I think that's great for business. It's a very LA concept.
It is. And I don't know, when I was younger, Kory, one of my other flaws is like I was very impatient. Like I wanted to go let's get it done. And look at, I'm X number of years and stuff. And I think if I would have slowed down a little when I was younger and built those relationships better, things, I'm very comfortable and very happy. We have a good friendship, Kory, and of course, Brandon and the boys in the apartment business. But I started later in life. And I wish I had started younger, but
on your real estate kick.
Yes, on the real estate gig and building those relationships.
Right.
I've always had friends, and I've had friends for 40, 50 years from high school and on. But I could have put myself out there sooner.
What's your note to the 25-year-old?
Well, I was thinking about that even when I was talking about it. It's interesting because I don't know if everybody's ready. You know what I mean? Like Kory, like when I was younger and before I got married and stuff, I just was trying to hustle, make a buck, but I really wasn't thinking about the future. It sounds weird, but I wasn't thinking about it. I was just thinking in the moment, just trying to get through work every day and stuff like that. But now in the real estate business more and the investment sides and apartments and stuff, it's kind of who you know.
Of course.
Of course. And
of course.
Yeah. But being able to talk to people too, it's a skill. For instance, I'm going to call him out, but my brother. Okay. My brother, I know he may or may not watch this, but
we'll send it to him. We'll make sure he watches. Yeah. We'll clip it out.
We'll make it a point.
We'll clip it out.
Yeah. But Kory, like if I have something to talk about, I'll call him. Okay, I initiated the phone call, and we wanted to start I wanted to start talking about a certain topic, but he doesn't hear it. He doesn't hear it. He'll go right over it and go right on to what he wants to talk about or off on a tangent. I love him. It's no big deal, but sometimes you just want to be heard.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I think that's a good. I think that would be my advice: is just to be a good listener.
I did some mushrooms on my 24th birthday.
Okay.
I've done them a few times, but like this instance, I know there was my 24th birthday, and my takeaway from a very entertaining day was that
I'm totally curious.
Was that I'm spending too much time thinking about the future and not living in the present moment.
Really?
Almost like the opposite concept.
The opposite, yeah.
Like I want to do this and I want to do this, and then like I do those things and can't celebrate them or enjoy them.
Right.
Because I'm now on to the next one.
Yeah, that's interesting.
We were working at this thing for like the last 2 years. We fucking did it. And like, literally, okay, great. And now what do we do next? And that was my takeaway was to like enjoy it,
that's
to like spend a little bit more time in the present moment.
That may be what my problem was when I was younger. I wasn't in the moment.
Right.
I was hustling.
That's what it sounded like you were saying.
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah,
I related to that.
Now that I think about it, I wasn't in the moment. I was thinking more of something else, and I couldn't contribute enough in the moment because I wasn't thinking in the moment. Thinking about what am I going to do next? Where am I going?
What's tomorrow? What's the next check? What's the next? How do I do this bigger? How do I do this better? How do I do this right?
Yeah. So I would say just everybody slow down a minute. You know what I mean? Slow down and just try and stay in the moment and listen. I wish I was better listener when I think I'm better now, but I wish I was better younger.
You seem like a very good listener.
I am now, but it was a learned trait, a learned character.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You were mentioning reading. So most of my reading I do is like I read the news.
Yeah.
And the news has been wild. The news has been wild for the last the news has been wild for the last decade, but it's been quite wild for the last 90 days. So my question is, Trump is very, regarded as pro-business.
Pro-business, yeah.
Pro-business, pro-commerce, pro that type of idea.
Yeah.
How does it seem like now versus November to now?
November to now, yeah. Okay.
I think it's a little. I'm a little surprised. It seems like
Tell me why, Kory.
Because it feels not super pro business. It seems kind of pro America, but not super pro business.
Yeah. Well, listen, Kory, the stock market keeps going down.
Oh yeah, and my stocks are super fucked up.
Yeah, and I just went across the street to get gas. Everywhere else it's dropping a teeny bit. But
it's a little expensive right here.
It was a little expensive over here.
Yeah,
I don't know, Kory. I my pulse is not on politics.
Right.
I mean, I'm paying attention, but I've learned over time that this guy gets in, this guy gets in, that guy gets in. It seems like some of it's I don't like, and then I'll find certain things that I like. Let's take the good with the bad with the good. But the bottom line is, it seems like we all just keep chugging along. So I might as well put my head down and stay focused on what I'm doing.
How? But do you have to make any plans or contingency plans for if this happens? Like you all are there's
that's
hands in.
I mean, Kory, that's a really good question.
Because there's hands. Y'all got hands in real estate and you got hands in construction. Yeah, you got hands in. So I'm like so if labor's going up or if lumber's going up. Yeah, like these.
Yeah, I know. And we were building during COVID and prices started going. And the ability to get the product was it was very scary.
It was the shipping. The shipping was a problem.
But the shipping, because they weren't doing it. The supply chain was cut off, and these are good questions. Strategically planning certain things matter, but. My God, how can you plan for COVID there is thought going into it. But the good news is that housing is there's always a need for housing.
Right.
So I guess that's really the fundamental thing is there's not an oversupply, there's an undersupply.
But there are people losing money in housing too. It seems few and far between, but it exists. There are people losing money in housing.
Like this guy I was watching this TikTok video or whatever, and he's saying, buying a single family house to rent out, it's crazy because you're going to lose money. If you buy a house for $500,000 and your mortgage is $3,000 a month and you can only rent it for $3,500 plus taxes, plus insurance, plus you're losing money on that house. Right. So there has to be some strategy involved. And that was, that was the good news for me, fortunately. Brandon and I got together doing development construction stuff about 7-8 years ago. And then we started getting into the rental and, went from single families to duplexes to triplexes to fiveplexes.
You've been around for a while.
Yeah.
What are indicators for what were indicators for the best times to buy?
Oh,
when it
was in the dump, the crash, the financial crash.
So after a crash.
Right, like
not before the crash.
Not before the crash, because then you're at the peak. But when
because if you bought it crash and then
selling and there's blood on the street, Kory, there's an old saying: your bones are made when there's blood on the street. So when people are selling,
that's interesting.
Yeah,
right.
I said it, but yeah, like Kory, like 2008 when the crash hit, and we just went. Boom, just down. Like I can think of a lot of people had rental properties in Riverside County, and they were just walking away from property, walking away. And people were picking up properties, the smart ones were, and lo and behold, we're way surpassed the value at the peak.
Of course.
Before the crash.
Right.
When they bought it, now we're back over that top. It's crazy.
Now, are we not due for like a correction?
I think we are.
Right. It's giving bubble. I'm not gonna lie.
I know.
I was around for the last bubble, but I was not grown.
That's funny because you feel something.
Because it feels untenable.
Yes,
My rent is
Kory?
too fucking high. Okay, I make good money.
Yes.
I do okay.
Yes.
Okay, do I do I do all right. I make more than your average American,
right.
And my rent is high.
Right.
And I don't live extravagantly.
And not only the rents, but the prices, housing prices are high. I don't know, Kory, this again.
It's giving correction. Giving because something something has to happen.
Yeah.
Because I make $100,000 a year and I can't
and you're Robin Peter paying Paul.
Right, I'm not like I have a roommate. I make $100,000 a year. I have a roommate.
Yeah.
Okay, like that's this
wake
is
up call to America.
This is like not tenable. They're like I'm like this can't be it.
That's weird, Kory, because I kind of feel the same way a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Like now everybody will have their own opinion. You know, and economically they say, you know, well, there's been cancer. We got to go through chemo first to cure it, which means some pain. But maybe the pain is going to be a crash.
It's only really rich people saying that.
Say that?
It's only people who are like, we're going to feel something. And
I was going to say.
Zuckerberg's laying off 1,000 Meta employees. And he's like, we're all going to feel something.
Only somebody
it's going to be tough times for us here.
They're in the hills of Hollywood.
Right.
No, you're right. And, you know, and the more and more people I ask, everybody kind of has a different opinion, but nobody really knows. I'm telling you, Kory, nobody, and I talk to different, nobody really knows. They're sitting back, they're waiting to what happened. But there are guys, Kory, we had that guy, Ryan Garland. Mm-hmm. Ryan Garland, he's building all those barn dominiums. He's building those beautiful houses in Lake Havasu.
Yes.
And they're beautiful.
Right, I'm sure.
And I think he's having his opening in April.
Right.
But
we should go.
We should go.
Yeah.
We should go. I think we were talking about going.
I'll bring the camera up.
Yeah.
It'll be fun.
Hell yeah.
It'll be some content.
But a guy like that, and now I know maybe privately and stuff, he worries and thinks and stuff like that, but I just see this guy, he puts his head down and he's just going. He's building these properties and he's marketing them and they're selling. Mm-hmm. But so maybe there's something to be said to just be a little bit of aloof with economic matters. I mean, I don't know, Kory, because if you're going to sit there and worry about it, what's it going to do? I don't know.
I was just writing questions as I was driving in.
Yeah.
So one of the ones I had, so you mentioned Ryan Garland, who I imagine is incredibly wealthy.
Yeah.
One is it that there is enough. Like, so how many doors before you're like, how many doors before you're like, I'm good. I don't need more.
Well, again, Kory, these are great questions. I've never, like we have 103 doors,
right?
And things are starting to get a little heated, in a good way,
right?
We've got some five different buildings, but when is it? I don't know, Kory. I don't want. I mean, I'm older. The guys, Chuck and Kevin and Brad, they're younger, and I can't be doing this forever,
right.
But when is enough? That's a really good question. Like, for instance, those guys, Robert Martinez, who we went to see out in Houston.
With building, thousands of doors.
He's got like I think it's 8,000 or 5,000 or 8,000 doors. He's got 23 beautiful buildings. He's done a fantastic, very gracious person. Robert Martinez is a great person, and his team's amazing. But he's continuing to grow. I don't know. It depends on what you want to do. Like Robert wanted to build a company.
Which he's done.
And Grant Cardone, who owns 10,000 doors, whatever, he's building a company.
Which he's done.
Yeah.
We have housing. There's set.
Yeah.
You don't need any probably don't need any more money.
So then maybe is it are you trying to attain some type of financial, bar? I don't know.
Is it like your dick just can't get any bigger? Yeah. So like I just am gonna keep getting shit? Is that what it is?
I guess.
I don't like sometimes I'm like because
if you ask Brandon that question, he'll say I'm going to 10,000. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Right, but then you hit 10,000.
Yeah.
But then then it's okay.
Yeah,
Can you chill?
Yeah.
Or is it?
I'm sure. Because on your timeline, Kory's timeline, you're gonna have an inflection point where you're gonna decide I need to do something else.
For sure. Am I just gonna become my continued podcast producer?
Kory, if you had all the money in the world,
right?
If you had all the money in the world, this is part of high stake. What would you be doing?
If I had all the money in the world, I think I would be trying to get other people money. I think if I had more money than I would be getting people. Like sometimes I see people like LA will test your humanity. LA will test your fucking humanity. Yes. So like you drive
to the core.
To the core. I live downtown. It is real. LA will test your humanity. And I think to myself, I'm like, man, if I could I can't. I don't have any cash to give you. In this moment, I don't walk around with cash. I don't have any cash to give you. But in some instance, I'm like, I would love to be like, hey, but here is opportunity.
Yeah.
To do something. Here is an opportunity to
Like I'm sure there's a ton of starving artists, not artists.
I would be making
video guys.
Right. Or even starving artists. Like I would love to be like, okay, here's a house. That is, I feel like if I was in real estate and I was like, okay, I would be making like a creative housing for people who don't have any money.
Yeah.
And being like, this isn't, I'd be like, okay, this is property that I don't make any income on, but like, I'm helping.
And Kory, if you had all the money in the world, I believe you would do that.
I would try. I think that I think I would try.
And that's the other thing too. You just fucking try it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I should have tried 1,000 different things when I was younger. And now I'm doing it. But my timeline is squeezing. I believe you would try it. You would try anything possible to help somebody get along.
If I was like a real estate person, like if I was Rick Caruso.
Yeah.
If I was Rick Caruso. More money than God. Macy's is paying him rent. Apple is paying him rent.
Yes.
Okay, they're paying him rent.
Yes.
LA is paying him rent.
Yes.
Okay, more money than God.
Yeah.
He wants to be mayor of LA.
Is he still?
He did.
Yeah, he did.
So let's assume he spent $50 million trying to be mayor of LA.
That's right.
I feel like if I was Rick Caruso, I would be like, how do I help?
Yeah, and he could be a big help.
Rick Caruso can erect cities in Los Angeles.
Yes,
he has the power to do this. But he could help.
Yes,
but is not helping.
But he's not helping. Well. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like listen, I'm going to go off on a tangent for a second.
Please.
Well, like I was thinking about some of these other people, and like I was thinking how these wealthy people could do a ton. They could do a ton.
A ton.
Yeah. And then, but I was thinking like Taylor Swift. I don't know why I said, and I was thinking, but then I read this article that Taylor Swift actually does she gives money to families and she gives money to different charities. So it's like, and she doesn't advertise that. I mean, I don't believe it because I didn't know that.
Right.
This weird, little article of talking about it. I don't know if he does it or not, but damn, he could make a difference.
I don't think so.
Yeah, and you may be right, Kory, because I haven't read anything about that.
I don't think so. I feel like if Rick, because realistically, Rick, if you're watching, you could go and erect something, put a Target at the bottom, a hospital at top, and housing for people in the middle, whatever. Throw this building the fuck up. Help some people, and you would win mayor.
You're absolutely right.
You would win. Rick, you'll win.
Yeah.
If you want to be mayor, that's the way to do it.
That's the bomb.
You will do it. People will vote for you.
You're right.
I will vote for you, Rick, if you actually were going to do something fucking helpful.
If he was to take some abandoned ass building,
please, there's a ton of them.
In conjunction with some kind of local,
put some shops up, pop up some stores, pop up a Rite Aid, whatever the fuck they got out here.
And then have the people come in that need a house for a month, or maybe it's a revolving door.
Just like housing that is not profit. You are not making money. It is. You keep the rent.
It's not money coming out of his pocket, but it's subsidized.
It is subsidized between the rents and whatever. You're just not making an arm
Corey,
and a leg off of it. You win.
Hey, Kory, you just gave Rick Caruso the greatest marketing.
Someone has told Rick this. I can't be the first person to think this. Like, you could do this. And you could do this.
So then
you would win.
So then again, there's the other thing.
And be like, look what I did.
Kory, there was the other thing too I wanted to talk to you about.
Yeah.
What we spend our time doing. What we spend our time doing.
Right.
Like here I was doing this, doing that, and I wasn't really getting anywhere.
But were you not getting anywhere? You weren't learning stuff along the way. You weren't making some connections. You weren't.
True.
Yeah. I think that there's. I'm from New York, where it's very rat racy.
Yeah.
And everyone's just always spending their time doing something.
Yeah.
Everyone's spending their time doing something.
Yeah.
And almost you're like villainized for thinking that I might want to date my fucking self.
Oh, right.
That I might just want to sit and not do anything today.
Yeah.
That like I'm not picking up my phone.
That culture is just go.
Go.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I want to say like your journey. I don't feel like whatever you were doing before you started real estate was a waste. Because now you're here.
No, that's a good point. Yeah, you're right. Whatever happened in my journey, your journey, it still brought you to you.
We're both sitting here right now.
Exactly.
Both of our journeys have brought us to this moment right here, right now.
No, that's a good point.
This is where, and this is a nice moment.
Yeah. Maybe nothing is a waste of time because everything, listen, but Kory, you got to have an open mind.
Right.
Like if my mind is shut while I'm going through these little experiences, I'm not gathering the most data that I possibly can. And I didn't. But now as I go through these things, I realize, wait a minute, open up, relationship, conversation. Oh, this is that. But I'm learning more.
Okay.
And I feel like that was a learned skill too. You know what I mean? I mean, you're a good people person, Kory.
I'm decent. I'm a decent people person.
You're a good people person. I'm just bringing up the whole element of, what we spend our time on because it's such a scarce commodity. We don't have a lot of time here.
Right.
Right. And so
which becomes more apparent as time goes on.
Yeah.
Which becomes more apparent as time goes on.
Yeah.
What
else you got, Kory? What else?
I got some things lying around.
Hey, Kory, how do you like your wine?
Oh, this is great. I got a nice little. A Pinot Noir is nice because like I don't like a cab gets a little heavy.
Yeah.
And then once we leave like the Pinot Cab place and we're drinking, then it's too.
Once we get our wine sponsor, we're gonna make sure we get the best wine ever.
I'm ready. I expect nothing less. Okay, so what is it that actually? So what were you doing before real estate?
When I was after school, after college, I stayed
Fritos,
up.
you should sponsor us too.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, Kory and I, we have chili
we have a
cheese.
Ritual. We have a ritual.
Yeah, these are the best.
Chili Fritos.
No, I actually just started in the mortgage business. So after college, a friend of mine had a mortgage company. I started in the mortgage business, and I enjoyed it. It was fun. I'll throw some names out. I was first working. It was up in Northern California, Sacramento. The Money Store. The Money Store was, oh God, dating myself a little bit, but Jim Palmer. He was the old pitcher for I forgot he was a pitcher for, but he was a pitcher for so and so.
I don't know sports or California.
Yeah,
I need a year.
He was a pitcher, but he was the spokesperson for the Money Store.
This is like 19.
This is probably 1995.
Okay.
Yeah, 95. And so I was with the Money Store a couple of years, and then I transferred over, and they were a subprime lender. A subprime lender is, somebody that has less than perfect credit, but that's basically everybody. But anyways,
right, pretty much.
Yeah, but and then I went over to the AmeriQuest Mortgage. AmeriQuest Mortgage is again a subprime lender, and they just had more of a robust system, and just everybody was just go.
Do you think subprime lenders are evil?
No, they served a purpose, but man, Kory, their underwriting was evil. Their underwriting, because it got people approved when they probably should not have been approved. Mm-hmm. And again, we don't have to go into that, but that was all part of the financial debacle.
Oh no, that's what I love going in. That's what I want to go into.
Yeah,
it's interesting stuff, Yeah,
well, and listen, I'm not the aficionado on subprime, debacle, but
right.
America, we were writing loans. Underwriting was. I was just a salesperson, but they were underwriting loans with stated income, meaning that you could just write your income. I would,
I make $100,000.
I'm a consultant. I'm a roofing consultant or a roofing expert or something. Anyways, yeah, 100,000, and that was their income. And
that was in 95.
Right, 95, 96, 97. All through that.
And that proliferated for 10 years before that bubble popped.
Yeah, right. Exactly. And then everybody got into the system, and then they started selling off all these mortgages along with the paper stuff too. And I think it just, and I don't even know what was the
tipping point.
What was the needle that tipped the camel's back or something? What was it? I'm not sure.
For the 08 crash.
Because Kory, during that time period, real estate prices just kept going up and kept going up and kept going up. Everybody would buy. In 12 months, they'd refi. At 12 months, they refi and cash out and go buy something else. And they weren't putting any money down. People were buying these things 97%, 97.5%, 100%.
Financing.
Now your rate and terms reflected that.
Of course.
But you would rent them out and you would pull out cash and you go buy a couple more. And it was just crazy.
You mean that thing that everyone's doing right now?
Yeah. Although it's getting harder now. Because the rates are higher. Rates are higher now. Do
you think I have that question too written down.
Well, let me say something else though. What else has changed is the underwriting. Underwriting has changed
for the better.
For the better, yeah. Because now you can't do a stated income loan and get a 95%, purchase money. You can't do that. It doesn't exist. You have to prove your income. Okay. And you have to. Most people are putting 20% down on them, so they got a little skin in the game.
A little bit.
Yeah, a little bit, and their income is has been verified. So these are the things that have been set in place, as others that are helping us at least. The stability of the market, it's not so fragile. It's not so fragile as it was. Kory, back in the day.
I don't know. I wasn't. Okay. I was there, but not really there.
Yeah. I can tell you, Kory.
I know right now people are buying homes and refinancing every 24 to 36 months. And doing decently and have been in this. And it's been like this.
Yes.
It's been like this for at least 6 or 7 years.
You're right, Kory. Prices have continually, equity has continued.
My rent's going up so fast. Okay, when I lived in New York, how the renting market was set up, you could get an apartment. Let's say it was $1,500 a month for your 3-bedroom. Mm-hmm. And
wow, when was this?
Let's call it like 2000, maybe like. This would be Albany. This was like when I was in college. Okay. But like this would be like Albany. It'd be like $1,500 for your 3-bedroom. This is in like 2000, maybe like 14, 13, for sure. And it stayed like that.
Yeah.
It was $1,500. Your rent was pretty much locked in
for a couple of years
until you moved.
Oh, okay.
For the most part.
Okay.
They might up your rent if you've been there forever. They might maybe try to up it a little bit. Yeah. But generally, the concept was if you move into a place, this is the rent. You are at market.
Right.
And when you moved, you were paying market prices, but it became worth it because after a couple of years, you would be well below market. Because the rent kept going up, but you would be locked in.
Right.
At the rent you were paying.
Right.
Right. Move to LA, the market's completely different.
Yeah.
Where every year your rent goes
up. Yeah. Yeah.
Every year your rent goes up. The legal mandate they can do it's either California or Los Angeles is 10%.
Yeah.
My rent is $3,100 a month. That means every year it can raise $300.
No.
Oh,
Every 12 months.
Every 12 months.
It's locked in for a year.
Every year it can raise $300 a month.
Right.
That's like $3,500, $3,600 more a year.
You're right.
Every year.
Hey,
that's wildly untenable.
Well, you know what I just thought of, Kory?
Because who's getting a $4,000 raise every year? With a normal person. Who's getting a $4,000 plus-ish raise per year?
That's what we're talking about, like the needle breaking the camel's back.
Right.
Income has gone up, but it's not going
up at the rate of everything else.
It's not in line.
It's definitely not.
Prices are going up. Income has not gone up. These are the things that
minimum wage is still $7.25 nationally.
Is that true? What California's like 20, right?
It's maybe like
25.
16, 17.
Oh, okay.
I think that's the minimum.
Okay.
I think that's. I mean, I don't know anyone who's working for less than maybe $25, $30 an hour. But like, in California, the minimum wage is like 17. The national average is $7.25.
Kory,
can you fucking imagine working for $7.25 an hour?
I know. See, this is, and I'm just making an observation, but I know people are suffering out there. People are struggling.
$7.25 an hour.
Yeah.
That people are, that no, what is that gonna? I know that LA is an overpriced market, but I don't know if I think anyone can really live on that.
But Kory, I think that a lot of those jobs are, what do they call those things? It's a transitional job.
They call them transitional jobs. They used to call them teenage jobs. But the thing is, that's not what they are. They're jobs that like.
Well, now it's not what I mean. There's all kinds of folks having.
You got old people with jobs.
Yeah.
You got 60, 70-year-olds.
Two or three jobs.
Right, because it's such a. From my perspective, it seems very untenable.
It's not sustainable.
Right.
Yeah.
Like when COVID happened, I said,
Yeah.
When COVID happened, I was bartending.
Yeah.
And my house was all bartenders and servers. And all of a sudden,
your house was all bartenders. Okay. Yeah.
We were all out of jobs.
Yeah.
Within like a week period, my entire house was out of jobs. And I knew tons of houses that were like this.
And tell me, Kory, what happened? What did everybody do?
So my COVID experience is a little specific. Okay. But so we all got laid off. Essentially, we all got laid off at the same time. I had decided I was moving to California a couple months before that. And didn't let COVID stop me.
Oh, this is in Albany.
So I left and came to LA.
Oh, okay.
I was still, and
during COVID.
I moved to Los Angeles with $400 in my pocket.
During COVID?
Yes.
What year was this?
This was 2020. I got here March 25th. My 5-year anniversary.
Oh my God.
My 5-year anniversary in Los Angeles is today.
Kory, you are a fucking survivor. I can tell you right now. Jeez. So tell me what happened. You came over here.
So the whole house was laid off. And what I thought immediately was, and our rent wasn't that expensive.
Yeah.
But it was like, okay, and if someone got laid off, there was 3-4 of us in the apartment. So we could cover it. If someone had to figure it out, we could figure it out for a couple weeks while someone found a new job. Yeah. But that wasn't the case. No one had a job. No, we all didn't have a fucking job. No one could cover anything.
We were all looking at each other.
We were all like, and what I thought to myself, I said, they're gonna have to start giving people money.
Oh yeah.
They're gonna have to print out money. Because this whole thing's gonna crash because we can't pay our rent. Yeah. And we're not gonna move.
And what happened? Did everybody get one of those?
Within, I said they're gonna have to start paying people within 6 weeks.
Everyone started getting money. Yeah.
Because it was like, this isn't gonna work.
Yeah.
This is not really gonna work.
And listen, I think that came at the right time.
There wasn't another option. Yeah. If the billionaires want to stay billionaires, the people who have all the money would like people with no money to keep spending it.
Yeah.
If
you can't fucking bankrupt. You can't bankrupt the working class.
If 30% of your tenants in a building cannot pay their rent 1 month, y'all are fucked.
Yeah.
And that's just and now all of a sudden it's skyrocketing up the thing. It doesn't take long for that to happen.
Yeah, you're right.
And so like now. Mm-hmm. I'm like, I make good money.
Yeah.
Living alone had me living in like squalor for something that most people can't afford to pay anyway. Yeah. I'm cutting $2,000 a month in rent, and I don't have parking. I don't have I don't have anything.
Right.
And I'm catching parking. Like right now, I owe the city of Albany like Los Angeles. I owe Los Angeles like $4,000 in parking tickets.
Kory, you're not alone. But anyways,
I know LA.
Well, like, that may be a little bit more than I owe. But
I owe LA like $4,000.
No, you know, I owe the toll roads. But anyways,
right.
Go ahead.
Like $4,000 I owe them, and I owe them this because my apartment didn't have parking.
Yeah.
And now I couldn't pay for parking if I wanted it.
Yeah.
And I'm catching parking tickets. I now owe the city of Albany, Los Angeles, all this fucking money.
Yeah, for parking tickets that you couldn't have a fucking parking spot.
And I couldn't afford to live in a place that had a parking spot. It's like the penalty for being broke. So subsequently, and like I make good money. I make more money than most people.
Yeah.
It's like so this is like,
I hear you, Kory.
This is untenable.
Yeah, yes, I know.
This is untenable.
I keep saying the same thing.
Because what the fuck are you going? You're giving a $4,000 parking ticket bills to make $40,000 a year. And then it all feels like
it's not you. This cannot be sustainable.
It's not sustainable.
I know. I totally agree with you.
And I think that's when corrections happen.
Well, yeah, I think so. I think so too.
Because someone's gonna have to be like, oh, we can't just up their rent every year.
And by the way, and Kory, and people are leaving.
Yeah.
I mean, people are leaving and they're going to Texas. They're going to Nashville.
But it's not just an LA problem.
No, I know.
This isn't an LA thing.
Although certain basics are cheaper.
Other places they've got the same problem with way less income.
Well, that's a point, because if you go somewhere else,
that Texas minimum wage is $7.25.
Kory, where are you going to match Los Angeles commerce? You're talking about all these people. Right. I mean, just business. It's crazy busy.
Right.
But the basic fundamentals, housing and parking and insurance, everything is very high and expensive out here.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. But I feel like for me, if I was gonna move to like Texas right now, I'm a podcast producer and a video editor.
Yeah.
I would take a $30,000 pay cut.
You would take it
easily. Easily.
Yeah, because you don't have that commerce.
You don't have that business. You don't have the
action.
Right.
So, Kory, how can we make it? How can we plant our flag? Forget about it. How can we fucking plant our flag and make it happen here? And how do we do that?
How do we make what happen here?
Well, have a great life.
Well, I feel like I have a great life here in LA. I love my life in LA.
You were complaining there, Kory.
I'm not complaining about my life.
Okay.
I'm complaining about. Because
you're seeing a social economic struggle.
I can recognize that I, Kory, do okay in this setup. I will be all right.
Yeah.
But that's I, Kory.
Yeah.
You, Greg.
Yeah.
Everyone else is not set up the same way.
I agree.
So and this whole system comes cascading and falling down on top of people who might be okay in it generally.
Yeah.
But if everyone else is struggling,
go down.
Right?
Yeah.
It's not my problem that is happening.
And by the way, Kory, if they all fucking go down, listen.
Oh, we're going down too.
We're gonna get pulled down too.
It's falling down on top of us. Right, of course.
But then how do we I don't know.
How do you fix that?
How do you fix that? Well, it's those are fundamental, economic questions that I think. Listen, I hope we're on the right path.
I think there's
Kory,
some version
we're on the right path.
I think there's some version of hedging your bets, hedging your investments, hedging your setup against this inevitability.
Yeah.
That is coming.
How do you do that, Kory?
I want to say. Okay, how am I doing that?
Well, how are you doing that? Yeah.
As a small business owner, I am divesting my assets and my investments so that they're not all in like one
You're not
spot.
You're not in just one bucket.
If BGCK goes under, can I still pay my rent?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it's like trying to like make sure you're like, okay, Ken, how does this all right? How do you trying to like in that kind of version.
Yeah.
I'm trying to like, beat the clock too.
Yeah.
Before or trying to be set up so that when this all comes bottoming out, I can be someone to buy.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I'm doing
you're
personally.
You're strategically positioning yourself to be a little bit diversified.
Right.
Yeah.
And to be able to when the rates go down, when everything happens, because I feel like COVID might have been a good time to buy too. They had to drop all the rates. They had to do all these things to keep the economy from falling apart. Yeah. And there are some people who were able to benefit from that.
Well, that's the thing too, Kory. You asked me, when was the right time to buy and stuff back in the crash? Well, at the bottom of the market when it was crashing. But you got to still have an opportunity to be able to take advantage of that.
You have to be ready to do it.
You can't be broke and fucking...
You can't be broke when all bottoms out.
Because what are you going to do?
What the fuck are you going to do?
But see, that's the whole thing, Kory. It's like, positioning yourself, strategically position yourself, diversifying yourself. See, I feel the same way. I feel that is what we're doing. What I'm doing is, yes... we started a little construction, Brandon and I, and we have the real estate company, so we do transactions for clients and for the homes we build, and then we got into the real estate apartment business, which I think
like those wholesaling guys are all fucked. Well, maybe. Well, maybe not. Maybe if it all bottoms out and people are trying to sell low, and then there'll be people trying to buy. And
people are hurting. People are hurting. So guess what? They want to sell. They want to sell cash, and they'll take a little discount.
They'll take a discount.
So the wholesalers may still be okay. There's a lot of them out there.
They might still catch their 10,000 spread.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, they might still catch their 10 spread.
Exactly,
right.
And then move on to the next one, Right. That's a hustle. Right. That is a hustle. Right. But I think you're making a great point. I think you're making a great point. You have to diversify a little bit. Kory, if you told me you're sticking your whole flag in this piece of land here,
right?
Well, that's great, but damn, why not
in this economy?
Yeah, why not put a flag over there?
Right.
But something something that you're a little familiar with. You know what I mean? I think that helps. If you go into the orange juice business or something, maybe we don't know shit about that. But what I'm saying is, diversify within your world,
right?
To a certain extent,
as much as you can.
As much as you can, yeah. I think that helps. But again, Kory, when you're young and you're just trying to pay the rent, it's somewhat, above you to start thinking about strategic diversification. You know what I mean? Like you're just trying to pay the rent.
I think that's the difference between like COVID, Kory, and like this one.
Yeah.
Now I'm 30.
Yeah. But Kory, you've been through a lot. I'm telling you, the failures and those failures and those experiences, like if you just open up and go, God, you learned a lot. You developed as a person. You're I don't know. Carrying those scars, I think, again, makes you who you are.
Interesting.
Well, I mean, that's how I feel.
Well, no,
I could be completely wrong.
We're podcasting.
We're drinking wine.
We're drinking wine. We're like a little drunk in Los Angeles, living the high life. Okay, you bitches watching.
I'm about ready.
You take what you get.
One of your rap videos and let's go, baby.
Right. Let me see what else we got here.
What else you got, Kory?
What attracted you to real estate in the first place? How'd you get out of it? How'd you get to real estate?
Well,
and
it was just kind of. Again,
the flexibility, the money.
I needed to strategically plan a little bit better. But regardless, however I got there, I feel like I'm in a good place. But a friend of mine was in the mortgage business. Kory, he had a mortgage company, and so. Him and I started working together. And then it's just a little shop and, he had his, trials and tribulations. And then I moved over to the money store with a more corporate. And then I moved over to AmeriQuest, again, a more corporate. So I got into the real estate business and I started learning it. And, doing the mortgage financing, you learn everything about it, the good and the bad. And then it just transitioned into getting my real estate license and doing sales. I worked for it was called Condor Capital. And we during the crisis, we were buying tapes of an asset portfolio of like 100 different houses across the country.
Right.
And then you had
like as a group.
As a group, you just they were all in foreclosure, and the Condor Capital purchased that tape. They called it a tape, and it had all these assets on it across the country. And you took it and you started dispositioning those properties. You could either see if the renter wanted to buy them, or the owner wanted to buy it. He was foreclosed on, but you see if he could get
it back.
See if he can get it back. You worked with local realtors and then got it back on the market. You had to go through a foreclosure process too. So I did that for a while, and then I got my real estate license. Then I went into real estate sales.
Would you recommend because I'm always thinking about the layman terms.
Yeah.
Do you think that the first person should go buy you're a first-time home buyer? Should you go buy a 2-family home, a new build, or a foreclosure?
You're talking about
you're a first-time home buyer.
Yeah, but Kory, you're talking about that person he's going to live. She or she is going to live in it.
They
or
would
rent
like
it.
their profit. They would like whatever it is that they're doing. They would like it to be profitable.
Well, there's they call it the owner's hack or the purchase hack or first time hack. What you should do, and this is just an opinion, what you should do is buy a triplex or a duplex and live in one of the units, rent the other one.
Should you buy a foreclosed triplex, duplex?
You have to get a good deal. Kory, here's I'm going to give you lesson 102-5.
Right.
The whole deal that you get into happens on the buy, on the purchase. You got to make sure you got a good price. If you overpay for a property, you're always struggling.
Because your mortgage is fucked up.
Yeah, your mortgage fucked up. The equity doesn't move as quickly. You can't rent it as much.
Right.
Cash flow is the problem. Everything happens on the buy. So if this is something you want to get some cash flow out of, make sure you get a good deal, get it below market. If you're good with your hands, maybe you get a really good deal, and then you renovate both the units. You live in one because you can buy it as owner occupied, which is the difference in the mortgage finance world. If you buy it as owner occupied, you get better rates as opposed to a non-owner.
Like an FHA?
Yeah, of course, FHA exactly,
Right.
And you can actually put 3.5-5% down, but again, you have to verify your income. But I would get a duplex or a triplex, live in one of the units, and you rent the other one or the other two, and then Kory, you do that for 12 months, and then you refinance the damn thing, and you go buy another one, and you rent the second unit out that you were living in.
Can you get an FHA with decent income and shitty credit? If it's a multifamily. Can I be like, hey, I'm going to buy this. It's a 3-family. I have the income to cover it. Mm-hmm. I have the down payment. This is a 3-family unit.
But you got bad credit.
But my credit is mid. No. Yeah, you got mid credit. You've got 620 credit.
Well,
You got like 620 credit. Not great credit, but not like you got average ass credit. You got average fucking credit. Like there's some shit in collections, but like you're like whatever. Like the income is fine.
Yes.
My oldest account is kind of old, but like
like the rest of us. Yeah, Kory, I think 620 would get you an FHA loan. That's a good question. That's a required, the criteria of an FHA loan. I think that you can get an FHA loan for 620. So I don't think your credit has to be 750.
Right.
I think you can get an FHA loan with a pretty decent score.
Right.
I mean, not a great score.
Like above. If you can get
I think it is 620. It's 620 or above, you can get an FHA loan.
Is it 620?
Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah.
Because I want to buy an investment property. That's like on my thing that I want to do this year.
Well, but Kory, then why don't you buy a duplex or a triplex?
That's what I want to do.
Live in one of the fucking units.
Because I fucking want to live in Los Angeles. So how much? Because so for me to buy a house in Los Angeles, a triplex in Los Angeles, I need $50,000 down.
Here's one thing. Here's the other thing I'm gonna say. There's always a deal for you.
Right.
We just gotta find it.
Right.
Oh, now I'm coughing because I ate my
Fritos.
Fritos.
But man, the Fritos are so necessary.
But there's always a deal for you.
Right.
Yeah, I think you should. you're gonna find we could find a good deal for you.
I've been like saving up money. I'm like, okay, I want to buy a house. I want to buy something.
Hey, Kory, let's put the numbers.
I got $20,000, $25,000.
I'm telling you, it's gonna all just come down to the number. Well, let's put the numbers together next couple of weeks.
Oh yeah, let's do it.
We should put the numbers.
We should
together.
do it, please.
So a triplex in Echo Park, you can pick up for
like 1, 2.
blah blah blah. Well, yeah, I know.
That's what I'm saying. It seems like
let me give you one of these. Oh,
1, 3.
No, I know.
Triplex Echo Park sounds like 1, 3, 1, 4.
We got to find kind of a fixer.
I think that
because you want to buy a. Listen, you can buy a shitty property, but let's just make sure it's in a good or decent area.
Okay.
Because you want to get that appreciation too.
Right.
And you want to get the rents.
Right.
You want to get the rents. Fuck, you're going to deal with some, bad guys if you're over here. But if you're over here, you're gonna get more consistent on your income.
And that's what I just want. I just want someone who's gonna. Because I don't want to turn and burn. I come from the concept of being a landlord for me is almost like for me to be a landlord in a I really have to take the ethical side into it. That really would matter to me.
I know what you're saying.
I'd be like, okay, this is how much this property costs. This is how much money I need to be making.
Yeah.
Like in profit.
Yeah.
Or that's like what that's like there's a.
Yeah.
But I don't have to. But I don't want to be upping the rent every month. I want to be fair.
Tenants.
Yeah. I want to have tenants who are nice.
And there's a fine line, Kory. Okay, let's say market rents are up here. That let's say market rents are $3,000 for a 2-bedroom. Let's say you've got a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, or a 3-bedroom, 1-bath. The other unit,
right?
You're living in one, and it's $3,000 or $3,500.
The mortgage,
but you Well, the market rent. So the market rent for that unit that you could rent is like $3,500, but you could get by with $28,000.
Right.
So you would do 20, and listen, Kory, good people have good karma, and good karma comes back to you.
Right. So, I don't want to like make a whole bunch. My plan was never to make a whole bunch of money off of people who didn't have any. Right. If the property is appreciating. Yeah. If it's cash flow positive. Yes,
and you're paying your bills.
And I'm not paying rent.
Right.
Oh my God, fucking amazing. This is fine.
Fucking amazing.
This is absolutely amazing.
Kory, guys,
this is absolutely amazing. I'm not paying rent.
High stakes deals. Kory is getting a triplex or a duplex.
Right.
Should we say by the end of 2025?
2025. By the end of 2025. Working out.
Kory.
By the end of 2025.
This was fantastic.
That's amazing.
This was amazing.
Amazing. It's high stakes deals.
Hey, Kory, on the logo though, let's get the evening. What do we call it?
Oh, okay. So
call it high stakes deal
late
after dark.
After dark, right?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Okay.
High stakes deal after dark, and we put some.
We'll put this on the back row and make it cute.
Brandon will let you come on our show, maybe.
Yeah, maybe if you act right. Maybe if you act right, you can come on me and Greg's show.
There's no way he's gonna act right.
Right? No, definitely not. Yeah. No.
But anyway, this is fantastic, Kory.
Yes.
Love the conversation.
Amazing.
You're the man.
The man.
And
you are.
Lots of stuff for us in the future.
Let me make sure I don't have any more questions that I had on our episode of High Stakes Deals.
Okay.
Let me make sure, because I was thinking about questions. Okay.
Maybe not. Okay.
Okay. With regard to the LA, okay. Oh, okay. That's an interesting one. Okay. With regard to the LA market, so I'm going to buy a house by the end of 2025. We're going to buy a
duplex or triplex.
Duplex or triplex. Oh, yeah, of course.
Owner occupied.
Because
you're going to live in one of the units.
Should it be in Orange County or LA?
Fuck. Listen.
Right.
No, Kory, it's got to be in LA.
I feel like it needs to be in LA because I don't want to be in Orange County.
You are an LA guy.
I don't look like an Orange County type of bitch.
Fuck no.
Right.
And listen, I lived in Orange County. I love Orange County and stuff, but I'm an LA guy. LA's has got more of a different vibe. Orange County, it seems a little laid back.
I would rather live in LA, but is there a spin on the finances? Is Orange County going up faster? Is LA going up faster? Which one is?
No, LA and Orange County I think are neck and neck.
Right.
You get in the right, Kory, we're gonna find the right neighborhood, the right location.
Okay.
You want to stay away from certain areas, and then of course these other areas are just too expensive. There is a fine middle ground.
We're gonna be super transparent.
Yeah.
I'm gonna bring out my 620 credit score. I'm gonna bring out my $25,000 that I have, and we're gonna go look and see what the fuck is possible.
Kory, we're gonna document this.
We're gonna document it.
We're gonna document.
I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm very excited.
Okay, was that the last question?
Yeah. High stakes deals.
High stakes deals.
We did
After
it.
dark.
After dark. Woo! All right, Brandon. We'll see you on the next one.
Bye.
We'll see you next time. All right. Bye.